Yeah, I remember what it was like to be a program of stature, a program that's dominant, a program that has elite athletes, a program that is moving in the right direction, a program that is capable of lopsided victory on days in which there are stretches of play that are a little left to be desired. I remember what it's like to try to frame that, to try to talk about that, understanding that if you beat somebody 66-13, you ought not lead with what's bothering you. You ought not lead with, yeah, but. But I don't remember having to do that because we always graded against the curve of championship level football, winning a national championship, striving to be the best team in the country. Now, when it's not realistic, you can't do that. When it's unrealistic, when you just got a team that isn't that good, you can't do that. You can't nitpick. You got to take your wins and you got to embrace those wins and you go along for the ride and you talk about the climb and you get into the aspects of what it means to win and what that could do for you and if then and maybe this bowl and all those things. But at some point, you get beyond that. You get to a place where you start looking at aspects of a really elite football team. And we understand as grown-ups the conversation is born from that, right? It's okay, I'm talking to you now about the differences between winning a national championship and just being a good program that's going to go to a bowl. And what's surprising as we sit here today is how quickly we had to graduate to the latter. How we had to get to a place in our minds and then now with our eyes as we watch it on the field against opposing teams as opposed to Tom and I and the rest of the staff here at Warchant watching practiced against one another. We said, well, let's see them pitted against other teams who are trying to do something about it, other coaches who are paid handsomely to work real hard to game plan and take advantages of weaknesses, those kinds of things. Then we'll know for sure that what we think we see, which is the elite football players kind of everywhere you look, and then we'll know, okay, can we have that conversation? Can we speak on this like adults? Can we talk about this in regards to winning a championship? And so I want to put the point of emphasis on that because it's really remarkable. I don't even think Jimbo, Tom, first of all, how you doing, buddy?
Hello there. How are
Hey,
you?
good.
I'm 2-0. How about you?
Yeah. I don't even think, Tom, that Jimbo built to this quickly. And what I mean is the Jimbo rise, go bring me grown ass men, quote unquote, right after he took over the program, right? And pretty quickly, you started to see recruiting take a huge uptick, and you went, okay, but it was going to take time because the transfer portal didn't exist. So you couldn't just take those players, plug and play, and win 12 games, 11 games, 10 games. You knew, all right, we're going to build to this, we're going to add to this, we're going to build to this and add to this. There were things that were improved upon, the way they practiced, the advancements in technology, the things they utilized that they weren't utilizing under Coach Bowden at the end of his career. And you could see the big step forward, the surge in the program, but there was a ways to go. What's interesting here is that you have an unprecedented COVID season. Like, how the hell do you judge that? Nobody really can. I think we all look back and go, I don't know what to do to that. I mean, I know a lot of people thought Mel Tucker was the guy right after the COVID season. Oops, looks like Mel Tucker's got problems. So
For Cause is his nickname now.
yeah, so you had those things, right? And then I was like, careful about what we take away from those seasons. And then, you're just slowly building this thing, trying to raise the floor, and you go 5-7 and people get upset. And then you go 10-3, and all of a sudden you're buoyed, you're bolstered, and you think, okay, I think they're good. I think they've done a lot to fill the holes. I think they're about to win a lot of games. It looks like that we can have expectations, real high expectations. But I wasn't sure that we could say maybe they can win the national championship. But now I kind of think they could win the national championship. And because I think they could win the national championship, I'm going to demand of them the same things that, at least when we talk about them, the same things that Mike Norvell does. And Mike Norvell's attitude these last 2 weeks and the conversation and the talking points and the things he doesn't always say, but you can see wash over his face when he's thinking about it, the way he calls the game, you can tell he knows. I think Ira wrote about this in his 3-2-1. He's right about this, I think, and that is that he knows this team's really good, and he's going to continue. We talked about how much he'll push them. He pushed them in a short week. They looked tired and rusty, and they had problems coming out the gates. but he knows they can be special. So the demands are higher on things that can be special or people that are special. You gotta command that of them to get the most out of their abilities. And the cool thing for us is to have this adult conversation about how they haven't played well. And they're 2-0 and they are dominating people. It's remarkable to watch. Florida State is at a place right now where you can just assume they're going to score. Well, first of all, you can assume that they're going to score 35 or more every time they go out because they have 8 games in a row. That's what they do. They're going to score. They have too much talent, and he's a really good play caller. They've got a lot that they can turn to. There are options galore. And, that's the most points Florida State has scored under Mike Norvell, 66. And they were able to play a gazillion people. By the way, that I shouldn't just poo-poo the idea that they're going to score 35 points. 8 straight games of scoring 35 points is the longest streak in the nation. No other team in the country's done that. So I don't want to ignore that. Like, that's a thing. Florida State now has the longest streak of 35-plus point games in a row. That's doing some things. And yet, I do think there's a laundry list of complaints about this game that we could have. And I know you and me. I know how we are. I know that you and I engage from the standpoint of, yeah, but man, there was some Mickey Mouse out there on Saturday night. There was some nonsense in that first half running around because you're a vastly superior athlete. It's not a real play. That's not even a play. You just draw that up and run around like an ass, and it works. Okay, that's not real. That's not sustainable against anybody who's any good.
Yeah, the Toafili throw is not going to work. And then I thought actually the slide on the second one might have been a little early. They never measured that. There was a timeout after it.
It's still a silly. The whole thing is dumb.
We did this with Brady and the Bucks. You're changing the nature of the conversation. If Jameis had returned for that next season and they were continuing to get better, it's about, okay, how much better are you? Can you make the playoffs in the NFL? This has gone from 0 to 60. I've been a playoff or bust guy. I think the playoffs should have been the barometer to, say whether this was a successful season.
It certainly is now.
But now I'm starting to believe this is a national championship run that they have in there.
It's possible. They're one of the teams, a handful of teams that you'd say that about.
But you're correct, having to go for it on 4th down and doing so, you wouldn't do that against Clemson, 4th and 10, 4th and 5 in the spots of the field that you go for. Like, I get that's a psychological message. Don't really love it, but that's what we did.
Well, I don't mind that he did it. I mind that we had to get to that point. I mind that you're in 4th down in that situation. I mind that you're not efficient with your offense in the first half. I mind that there are over 50 plays in this game in which you really don't accomplish what you were trying to do. So it's, this is a coach loves this though. A coach does love this. Look where we're at. We can play this poor. And that Southern Miss team's not terrible. They're not terrible. They're going to have a decent year. Mike said it in the postgame. I think he's right. It's just that's how far we are now in roster building and acquisition and retention, that now Florida State can, for lack of a better term, screw around and kind of not play well for stretches at a time and still have oodles of success, overwhelming success. The kind of success that leads people to go, really, you're going to come on here and complain about a 66-13 win? No, it's not about a 66-13 win. It's about, I want to win the national championship. You get very few windows of time where you have a team that can, and I think they might have one.
Yeah, and when they play really well to start a game, it'll be the first time this season that they've done it. That's the thing. If you're looking to define this as get your backups in, and we talked about that at the pregame show.
And they did.
That was great atmosphere we had at the pregame on Saturday. A lot of people were out there fired up. I mean, the whole fan base showed out for this game, big time. I know it wasn't technically a sellout, but town was nuts. I mean, driving around Tallahassee Friday.
People are equally excited about this team as we are and what their capabilities are.
Right. And so we talked at length at Indigo. It's about getting your backups in. And Mike Norvell said today over 100 players participated, more than he's ever had in a game.
It's crazy.
Participate in his career as a head coach.
The numbers are insane.
If that's how you define success, yeah, rousing success. Good job, Knowles. If you're defining success as, let's look at the first half against LSU and come out the gates swinging a little bit better, more efficiently. Failure. You did not. You did not.
And it's a short week, and I do think that matters. I really do.
Context does matter.
It matters, yes. And I know people roll their eyes at that, but you can look at through the ages. Anytime there's a short week, teams can often struggle to kind of get in gear. And I think, where I get in some of my frustrations is they got to be able to run the ball more efficiently, period. They just have to be able to run the ball more efficiently. They have big plays. They have big moments. They've got star players. They got a lot of things going for them. But sustained running game is not something that they've been able to accomplish in these first 2 weeks. There are moments where you see the misses. And it's, again, they weren't completely healthy on the offensive line. There's reasons. There are reasons. Jordan hasn't been as good as he's capable of, that's for sure. I mean, there are back foot throws, there are inaccurate throws, there are moments where he misses the guy, succeeds, but he misses the guy that he was supposed to throw to, makes the wrong choice at the line of scrimmage. We're seeing a lot of that right now from him. I find that fascinating. Obviously, the elephant in the room is Johnny Wilson, and they're going to need him to be great or at least good, and he's certainly capable of it. I've had this conversation and been yelled at for it, but he is wildly inconsistent. And what I worry about is that at some point, does it affect him? Maybe not. The thing that I give him a lot of credit for, and that he has proven time and again, so he deserves the benefit of the doubt here, is that when he has nights like that or just bad stretches of play where he drops, a couple of these were difficult catches, so I'm not going to equate them, but a couple of them were not. When he has these kinds of games, I've worried before coming out of those games, are we going to see a guy who's now domed up? Because if you drop 4 to 6 passes in 2 games, depending on how hard you want to grade, you could say more. If that's true, a lot of people struggle because it begins to kind of rattle around in your brain about those drops, and you start thinking instead of playing, and then we know what that turns into, and it's a mess. He's never let that happen. To his credit, he's had days where we're left wondering how it is he can make the incredible catches that he does and drop the easiest of passes, only to come back and be a force of nature and a catalyst for victory. He can be that. And I would never tell you that you don't want him on your team or in your starting lineup. You do. He's a matchup nightmare. Established, acknowledged, talked about thoroughly. He's also a guy that can be a drive killer, and if you're playing anybody who's any good, it could be problematic. And it's really interesting now to watch what happens with him, because as he came off the field, Tom, this is the first time that I sensed overwhelming frustration. Standing alone by himself with the walk-ons, kind of hanging out over there, that is a looking inward sort of, I'm struggling with this, or I'm frustrated by this, or whatever it is. I mean, you got to hope it's not something that rears its ugly head as we go through this season, because they will need him. They will need him to be good.
Yeah, and also the body language from Jordan is the most outward it's ever been with his frustration. It's not like he's angry at the kid. He's just like, what do you want me to do? Like, that's the look on Jordan's face. What am I supposed to do? Keep throwing it your way? Like, that's the hard part. And then on Jordan's side of it, look, there were a couple throws early on that he missed in LSU. We attributed that to butterflies. I think that's only reasonable to assume. But the underthrow count is pretty high so far this season. I get it. I think in theory what he's doing is he's saying an underthrow is a 50-50 ball. We're going to win 50-50 balls. But there were a lot of them on Saturday. Consistent underthrows. The first time he overthrew somebody was the shot to Jaheim Bell over the middle up the seam, and that was open.
Oh, it's wide open. Yeah.
But I thought, oh, okay, that's good. You could throw it past the guy. But a lot of these throws, guys are having to work back for. So he's not quite as sharp as he's been in camp.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, too.
In camp, we have seen better from a lot of these guys than we've seen in the 2 whole games that we've watched so
and
far.
I want to reiterate over and over again, because I get it. I hear our conversation. I'm a guy driving down the road. I watch Florida State. I like Florida State. I want Florida State to win. My team just won 66-13, coming off of a win in prime time on national television over LSU, who was a top 5 team. And these 2 guys are on here complaining about what we're not doing. I hear it loud and clear. I get it. But again, I want to reiterate, while you may think that's nitpicking, and it is to some degree, it certainly is, 66-13, and we're nitpicking these things. It is nitpicking. But I think when you think about a team that you expect to maybe compete for and possibly win a national championship, then it's not. Because those things have to be cleaned up, because you're not always going to be playing Southern Miss. And you're certainly not always going to be playing LSU's corners, who aren't very good.
And if you hadn't seen better in camp, then you'd say, well, this is who they are, and great job, guys. But because of the potential that has been seen consistently, and you've got a big matchup in 2 weeks' time. I know that they're down right now, but that's a noon kick. It was announced just as we signed on today.
Yeah.
It's a noon kick at Clemson. That game's going to be on ABC.
Really quite remarkable that's a noon kick.
Blame Clemson.
I do blame Clemson, but come on, networks. I mean,
it's a loaded slate that day. That's why.
That's so frustrating. I mean, listen, it's good for us.
Yeah, it's good.
I think it's good for us to not be rolling in there in a night game as the singular focus, and Clemson being able to build that thing into a frenzy and all of that fan-wise. Sure. You almost get the sense that when we travel now, in our minds, we're already skipping ahead because Boston College sucks, everybody. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with Boston College this week. They barely held on to beat Holy Cross. They probably didn't deserve to win the game. I'm not doing it. That's a terrible team.
The weather is the concern there.
That's the much bigger concern about whether they'll even play the game or if they have to move it or whatever they're going to do. But the point would be, and we certainly wish everybody well, I don't think it's going to be a storm that does too much damage, but it could be ugly on that day that we're supposed to play the game with winds in the 40 to 50 miles per hour. We got a problem on our hands. Yeah, then all of a sudden
certainly affects the total.
Well, yeah, it does stop. I love where your head's at. But I would just, again, in terms of a matchup, Boston College is going to be overwhelmed. Florida State should be 3-0 without much of a problem. But you're gearing up now as you look around the conference. You're kind of gearing up for the rest of this slate. And you got this Clemson game out in front of you here that that will be a pride game for Clemson. They're going to have to play hard. They have some dudes. So you're going to have to go take it from them, is my point. I think so far you can just say you're impressed. I mentioned after week 1, I thought Miami's offensive line had been greatly upgraded. I think that's the takeaway again here. They dominated Texas A&M's defensive line. That's not easy to do. Now, Texas A&M corners, ooh, goodness gracious. I mean, we got some problems up there, and that's for Jimbo to figure out. But I mean, I do think that Miami is appreciably better on the 2 lines of scrimmage than they were a year ago. And Van Dyke looked normal this week as opposed to last week. I thought Van Dyke missed a bunch of things the previous week, but he was very good in this game and set a Miami record and everything else. So I think that'll be a tougher game than we thought maybe before the season. Clearly, Duke is going to be a game that we're going to have to button our chin straps for and play well. I mean, it's hard to take anything away from Duke's lopsided win against Lafayette, 42-7. But they did what a good team does: dominate another team that doesn't have the manpower. So, that is good to see for them. Pitt falls on their face at home to Cincinnati. All of a sudden, you think, oh, okay.
It's a late rally, too. They were getting killed.
Yeah. They lost 27-21. Wake beat Vandy handily 36-20. I don't know what to make of Wake. They're 2-0 right now. Boston College, as I said, the next opponent just barely beat Holy Cross 31-28. Wow. I mean, that turned out to be a weird game. A lot of these things. Syracuse, by the way, 48-7 over Western Michigan. I don't know what Syracuse is just yet, but anyhow, so we'll continue to monitor these teams throughout the league because we look at our schedule and we wonder who's going to be the team, who's going to rise up to give you the game that you're worried about. Right now, to me, the easily identifiable one is the Miami game. That should be a good game, and it's a rivalry game, and they can block. Yeah. Now, can I do this? And I know we got to go to break, and there's so much today, and it's 2 hours. We got to get to all these things. I like to look at all of college football. I want to touch on the NFL, but I want to focus on the Noles as well. Obviously, we know what today is, and I remember, as do you, and it's crazy to think 22 years have passed. I start with that. That is hard to wrap my mind around. On this date, like so many other Americans, I always wake up and take the time to reflect on 9/11, and I know exactly what I was doing on 9/11. I was on the airwaves here in Tallahassee, Florida, with Matt Millar. And in years past, I've gone back and listened to that broadcast. I always catch something new. But it's a somber endeavor, obviously, on a somber day, and we always remember. But so you've got a lot going on, and I'm well aware of it, and certainly we remember. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab, all without a car. I'm Dana Brooks of Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777, and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
Attention radio listeners, this is a Foodie's Takeout and Delivery new restaurant alert. Now available for takeout and delivery from foodiestakeout.com. The Hawthorne Bistro, Jerry's Love on a Plate, Coach's Pizza, Munchie's Pizza, Red Eye Coffee, Lofty Pursuits, OG Subs, Dave's Pizza Garage, Sakura Sushi, and many more. Find a complete list of locally owned restaurants offering takeout and delivery at foodiestakeout.com. That's foodiestakeout.com. Don't just shop local, order local.
The leaves are starting to fall, the temperatures will start to fall, and the prices are falling right now at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas. Incredible dealer discounts up to $5,000 are available on all hot spring spas, the industry leader in hot tubs and spas. If you've never experienced the sensation and relaxation of having your own hot tub in your backyard on a cool evening, you're truly missing out. The cold months are coming, and now's the time to set yourself up for the best winter season you've ever had. Plus, you'll gain the added health benefits of reduced stress, relief of sore muscles, and better sleep. You'll feel so relaxed after a nice soak in your new hot spring spa. You'll experience some of the best sleep of your life. Head over to Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road and check out their huge showroom packed with the best selection of hot tubs and spas available. And ask about getting up to $5,000 in discount, low interest financing, and a free accessory to make your hot tub dreams come true. If you're ready to relax, Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine. Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
The nitpicky start and where we're looking at this team chasing perfection, this team chasing national championship dreams, and knowing that there are areas to improve and just noting what those are. Because you really can't, I don't think, at this point, sort of beat your chest for hammering Southern Miss. I mean, you got to look for other things here, and what you do is you say, all right, well, they did this well, or they did this poorly. This player needs to work on something. This player's got to get better or more consistent. this is looking good, but we got to get better here, here, and here before we play so-and-so. Like that's the conversation. That's how you have it when you're chasing perfection, chasing national championship dreams. One thing I will say that unequivocally is a lot better and enjoyable to watch is the defense. And I framed the conversation around the defense before the season began with 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers to you, Adam Fuller. I started there. Yes, I've been critical of Randy Shannon in other arenas, at least in terms of recruiting, et cetera. But we wanted to see how Patrick Surtain would help this secondary. We wanted to see, would this team with better personnel and a healthier group up front have an opportunity to dominate facets of the game, give their offense more at-bats, win the field position battle because they force 3 and outs, those kinds of things. And it has been a resounding yes. The defense is good. The defense is playing well. The defense has been more consistent than the offense. And I think that I can say without batting an eye. I'm really pleased with the growth I'm seeing from the defense and the amount of guys that are playing, the amount of guys that are playing well when they get their opportunity.
It's not that big of a drop-off either.
That's right. It's something. Some of these young defensive backs are going to be special. I really am pleased with what we're seeing there. And during the pregame show, Tom, we talked a lot about in a game like this where you're 30-plus point favorites, if you do take care of business or you are able to overwhelm, do you get to reap the benefits that all really strong programs and those building towards that strength that we alluded to in the past, the unfortunate rise of Clemson was the specific example that I gave. The thing that was consistent with those programs and what they were able to accomplish, and then what that carried over to the following year and the year after and the year after, was playing a lot of guys, was getting a lot of people on the field because you're taking care of business and beating people down and the game's out of hand, and you can work on situational football. You can put guys in spots where you're not real sure. Let's see what he does here. How does he play this? Offensively and defensively, Florida State was able to do that on Saturday night. And, man, were they ever. I mean, basically everybody played. They had walk-ons in the game. They had second stringers, third stringers. They went all the way down the depth chart. You got meaningful snaps. A guy like Blake Nicholson, that dude played well.
He played well.
And he was everywhere. So you see the instincts. He's just not big enough yet. So you put some size on him, and you're going to feel really good about what he is.
Early returns on his coverage ability are good.
Good, right?
Which is important for this day and age of college football. Absolutely.
Right. So there were things that stood out in that situation where I thought, awesome. This is a good thing. I mean, this is what you want to see. So they got everything they wanted from a rotational standpoint, the opportunity to play kids, to reward kids as well. And I think that's big. I talked a lot about Keziah Holmes. I think he's a good player. Well, what a night he had, right? And it was good to see him get those carries because he's a good football player and he's going to help you. They've got a lot of guys at receiver. I mean, how quickly did Hakeem Williams get in the game? And what a blocker he is, and a willingness to really bust your ass.
You listened to the pregame show, you knew that was coming with the blocking effort.
Yeah, it's fun to watch that. So they've got, and you have to be able to, when you're building this program up and you're asking great players to come here from the high school ranks as well as in the transfer portal and try to make that marriage work, you've got to have games like this where you can get dudes into the game. The bottom line is nobody comes to a place to sit after working their ass off all week long. They don't want to be a tackling dummy. They want to go out and play in games to showcase skills, to build towards something ultimately that they all dream of, which is being a big-time collegiate football player that gets their chance to play professional football. At a program like this, that's the bottom line. Now, you got to be a good teammate about it. Not every game's going to afford you this opportunity. Not every game the ball's going to come your way. Just the matchup doesn't work out that way. So you got to be a good teammate about it. But when coaches have a chance to reward players for all of their hard work, and it's a lot, and the sacrifices off the field and all the things that come with playing big-time college football, got to do it. And they did. Man, did they ever. I was so pleased to see how frequently they were getting guys in this game early.
Well, it's critical, too, for a group that was tired. That's the context of the disappointment I'm willing to put on pause. It's like the same thing with the Adam Fuller question in the offseason. I was like, well, didn't have a defensive line to speak of last year, and we got rid of the secondary coach for a reason. So let's see if he has better ingredients that you see a better meal prepared. And that's what we get to eat as Florida State fans. And so far, that's been the case, but still, there are major tests to come for Adam Fuller and for the defense. But it's critical to get these other bodies in the game because this group looked tired on Thursday. That's the day I spent out there at practice. And, man, you could see it. That, the crash, the adrenaline crash, the physical crash. You play a game like that, it's an inverted season. It's almost a playoff game in its own right. And it was physical. I know that the score was lopsided, but we didn't pull away until the fourth quarter. It wasn't like you were getting a bunch of backups in against LSU for the entirety of the fourth quarter.
Correct, yeah.
I mean, it's even that 45th point, that's the first team offense that's out there. So the disjointedness of what they put out there on Saturday night, there is a qualifier that they were tired all week in practice. But you got them off the field early. They should be rested. They should be recuperated. And if nothing else this weekend against Boston College, what you're looking for is a clean start, just to prove it to themselves. Let's not make this a talking point for the Clemson week. Come out, good, clean start, and it's not even a question from a national media member before you play Clemson in 2 weeks.
Hard part is I just don't know with this weather where you're going to be able to get to do that. It may be a one-dimensional game, and that's really unfortunate because I think the first thing you want to do is throw the ball to Johnny Wilson. I think the very first play or the second play,
maybe hand it off to him.
Certainly in the first series of the game, you want to throw the ball to Johnny Wilson.
About an end around.
Let's get him rolling. Let's get him going. Before we officially announce this as a major problem, let's just see if he's done what he's always done, which is bounce back from these poor performances to be a huge contributor. It's the most difficult task is to sit here and note, and I did it from day one, that a freak of nature is on your campus and he's going to help you win games because he is a matchup nightmare, while politely pointing out he can't catch a lick. So it is always difficult to have that conversation without being too one-sided one way or the other. You can completely ignore the fact that he drops routine passes on the regular and only point to the advantage he gives you because of the size and the strength and the speed for that size. Or you could, maybe some have accused me of this, incessantly point out that he struggles to catch the damn football on the regular and ignore the huge advantage that he gives you offensively because of all the physical attributes just described.
As a golfer, it just looks like the Shanks to me. It's in his system.
Well, it's not good.
And he's got to work it out because I thought for the bulk of camp, it was not an issue.
It wasn't.
The final week of camp or so, it started to creep in there.
But I can't figure that out. But it's always been his MO, and apparently it's always been his MO going back to high school. So it's one of those things where you say, all right, well, it comes and goes, it ebbs and flows. In some ways, it's even more remarkable that it has never hindered him for very long because, you used the golf analogy a moment ago, and we love to because we've golfed together all the time. And we love the sport.
But you can see when the Shanks are getting in somebody's system, even your own, you can feel it like, whoop.
Oh, yeah.
Now, why did that happen?
Yeah, and it's a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
And I hate it. If you like the person you're playing with and you see them going through it, it's the worst feeling. You're like, oh, man, there's nothing I can say about this. He's got to figure this out. And then nothing you can do. And then what you do is you let him hit the top shot or the duck hook or whatever it's going to be, and then
chip yips. That's a thing.
And you don't say anything. And
grab the putter.
It's on to the next hole. I mean, that's a toughie. I'm not going to pretend I see that.
I get what you're trying to do with the leading edge. Grab the putter.
But the problem is here, my man.
There's no putter to grab.
There's no putter to grab. No putter to grab. Got to catch the ball. And, the kid matters greatly to the long-term success of this season, this program. Obviously individually, he seems like a good enough dude. I don't really know any of these guys that much to vouch for him, but he seems like a nice guy. And every time we've talked to him, I've enjoyed it.
But it's not like you're not cultivating options behind him. It's not gotten to this critical mass place yet. I'm on the Johnny Wilson side always because I think of the details of the game. He helps you win. There are some guys when they fail, you're like, well, you know what? Sink or swim, pal.
Yeah, because they don't do the other things.
Right.
He does all the other things. It's 100% correct. He does. He's easily likable.
But Darion has had a good start to his season.
Really happy for Darion, and we should mention that, by the way. There's a guy that's dealt with a ton of injuries. He's always had talent. He's just never out there. And so now there you go. That was a good catch.
Hakeem Williams is coming along. He likes to block.
Well, there are a lot of dudes here, man. Now, let's not get it twisted. We have guys now. If this is to be a problem,
right,
you've got some other options.
There are seasons in which you say, well, who am I going to go with instead? This is not one of those years. You do have other options if it does persist. Like, let's say that, it's a 50% drop rate, 3 drops and 3 catches on Saturday at Boston College. It's windy. But then if there's a drop early against Clemson, what do? I mean, you have to be prepared for this contingency. It's a wide open third down drop, first opportunity at Clemson. I might be looking at Darion. I'm sorry, Johnny. We're going to get it together. We got a bye week to work on this. But there is a point at which in a game, it's going to be in the balance, and
it's a really
you're
tough.
Going to have to make a decision if he doesn't rectify it.
It would be a very difficult decision because they know how dominant he can be and how much they need him. But at the same time, yes, you can see the quarterback got a little frustrated this time around, and I would be too at some point. Like, my man. I
mean, how many more yards? We
yes.
talk about Jordan. We talk about Jordan and his inconsistencies against what we've seen in camp and the expectation of what the players to be. How many more yards would Jordan have this season without drops? Let's say he had 2 drops total in the first 2 weeks.
Johnny. I mean, Bell dropped a couple so far this year.
All the 50-50 balls this weekend did not seem. Now, we did talk about that. Southern Miss secondary, they're very good in those situations.
Yeah.
But, 50-50 balls mean you should win about half of them.
So my man, Lakewood High School, Deuce fan, coming on strong. Come on, Deuce.
Very nice catch.
Yes.
Very nice. That was a missile he caught.
All right, Deuce. And he's got wheels for days. It is how sudden he is.
Also, I want to point this out because I dogged him for it the first week, but Keon getting more involved in the blocking game too.
Mm-hmm. And then the freak of nature play on the sideline.
Well, that's going to happen.
Dude, I feel so bad for people. Like that poor kid. He's got to feel like a fool, but he's going to have that done. He's going to have that done. I mean, Keon's going to do that to a lot of people.
Like at live speed, you get a sense for how high it is, but our photographer, Bob Myers, this weekend caught the shot. We used it on the postgame show. I'll get it for the overlay so that people on the channel could see it. It's absurd. He's higher in the air than you think.
Oh,
when you look at that photo.
Yeah, he's a freak of an athlete. That's why he was on Michigan State's basketball team. He's really good. It's he's your best receiver. It's really not close. And the other part about that is he looks like a first-round draft pick. So it's a nice option. It's going to work for you there if you got a first-round guy. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Franklin County Sheriff's Office is investigating a fatal boating accident that happened Saturday
Hey guys,
afternoon.
our next partner is AG1, the daily foundational nutritional supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it quite literally every single day. I began using AG1 because I'll be honest with you, I don't like to take a bunch of pills and vitamins, and I just wanted something that tastes great, was quick, and easy to remember. So I do it. I do it every morning when I wake up. I certainly have it right after my coffee and before I work out. And I will tell you this, too. It is a simple, effective investment for your health. You can try AG1 and get 5 free AG1 travel packs and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/JCS. Again, that's all you got to do is go to drinkag1.com/JCS. That's drinkag1.com/JCS. Check it out. It's delicious. It's quick. It's easy. It's proven. Vitamins, probiotics, whole food source nutrients. Start your day with it. You'll feel better. I promise.
5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows around 73 tonight, partly cloudy skies. Chance for scattered storms tomorrow. Highs around 92, mainly clear. 92 Wednesday with a chance for scattered storms. 90 Thursday, chance for storms continues. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 91.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bungalow chung, Jeff?
Is that what is the pork?
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of that nobody would know and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair. You're an asshole.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
The defender for Southern Miss, defensive back. My favorite parts is in that picture, both B-Dub and Snoop watching on intently, watching in the background that dude with the glasses and the hat in awe. That guy's like, whoa.
That guy has the nervous look. Like,
That just happened? Look at this kid. But that is a grown-ass man. Strong, athletic, dominant, good start to his brief FSU career. He is something. By the way, Redemption Thursday, 5-5. 5-5 this week, and I think it was 4-6 last week. So we're off to a slow start. Not terrible, just not great. We'll tell you my prop bets all day, every day in the NFL, baby. I had Tutu Atwell over 29 yards receiving. He had over 100. I had Calvin Ridley over 60 yards receiving. He had well over 100. Ended up alternate line Atlanta. Price 4.5. Got that cover there. They kind of made me nervous there for a while. My 3-team money line parlay came in barely. I had Atlanta, Jacksonville, and Washington. All 3 won on the line. That's a 3-team parlay victory is what that is. So we cashed out on Sunday, baby.
Yeah, I did a lot better on Saturday. Did very well on Saturday. Not so hot on Sunday. I had a 5-way parlay. I just want to get crazy in week 1. And the Vikings.
Yeah,
otherwise, you win.
The Vikings did fail you.
And then I had a Godwin prop, and he did not get his over.
Did you see how much we missed that? By 4 yards.
Yep. Oh, I know.
4 yards. That's because Baker Mayfield sucks. But
my wife and I had the same expression. She's a Vikings fan. We had the same expression when the game was over.
Yeah. The Vikings have some issues.
Go Bucks.
Yeah. Got that win. Our defense is going to be good. It's going to be good. And then screw around and we're going to go 8-9 because of this defense. And what does that do you?
Winfield,
nothing.
He was a man yesterday.
He was a grown-ass man, and that defensive line wasn't having it either. By the way, our linebackers were awesome yesterday. Devin White was a freak.
Yep.
He looked like the old Devin White, getting to the flats and hurting people.
Contract here, that's why.
Oh, buddy. Super Bowl.
We're just going to win all games 20-17, 17-10.
Man. Well, the Vikings screwed up in the first half. They should have been trouncing us, and they couldn't put it in the end zone. Kirk Cousins. They got their own issue. Plenty is right.
Great.
How'd you like to be a Giants fan right about now? Ooh! Get geared up for that Sunday night contest, feeling good.
So I played Anthony Richardson yesterday with Dak because I was a little worried.
I played Anthony Richardson anytime touchdown.
Oh, there you go.
Cashed it on in, baby.
Sunday was good for you.
Player props all day.
So I actually made the right call, though, because even though Dallas went left and right, a lot of them were non-traditional points.
Yeah.
Pollard had a run. Dak didn't do a damn thing. Tony Rich was the right play for the Colts. It was an okay day.
Yeah, he wasn't good. He averaged, I think, 4.4 yards per play, but per pass play.
Right,
but he ran around and scored a touchdown for you. And
Anytime touchdown.
If he doesn't learn to slide, he's going to be dead in about 2 weeks. I watched that game because I had money involved in it, and he got killed running around. At one point, he got up gingerly, and you could see people like, "Hey, man, these dudes are for real up here. This is not what you do."
So, no judgment. Did you make it all the way to the end of our football game?
The Bucs game?
No. The Seminoles.
Yeah.
Triple zeros,
Yeah.
even though it was 12-15?
Yeah.
No judgment. If you said, I'll watch the rest tomorrow.
No, I stayed up to watch Oklahoma State and Arizona State because I had money on that, and Oklahoma State got that win, baby, given the 3.5. Boom! I stayed up very late
course, I'm locked in, but we launched the post-game show early. Like,
This is ridiculous.
Come
I
on.
was wondering why you guys were doing it. I admire it. It's amazing. But yeah, no, the areas that this is a good gambling weekend. This is a good gambling weekend. I had a lot of fun. It was good to be back into it. Real quick on that Cowboys game. You know the Giants are now 0-8 versus Dallas and Philadelphia, dating back to December of 2021. 0-8.
Oh,
Correct. Did you know that?
your season is
0-8.
your season's never over after week 1, but it feels like the Giants' season is over after week 1.
They all get them going. They'll play better, and I think they got Arizona next. They'll win that game. The Philly New England game was weird. It felt like that game was mostly played in Philadelphia's red zone. Like New England probably should have won the game if they hadn't had such a terrible start. Bizarre. By the way, got a guess. Out of curiosity,
Right?
what is New England's record since Tom Brady left? Remember the great debate, Bill Belichick or Tom Brady? Like,
how many games have they played? We do that much? So I can do the
they
math.
played
Right?
over 50.
Over 50 games. Let's
They
go
played 52 games.
52, 24 and 28.
25 and 27. They're 25 and 27 since Brady left. That's a sample size.
It is pretty average, you might say.
That is
Slightly
a
below
sample
average.
size. By the way, the home teams on Sunday, I've been telling my mom whenever we debate, over these things, because she thinks a bit like college. And she's always thinking about, they are on the road. It doesn't matter. Home teams in the afternoon, late afternoon, in the evening window went 0-6. There's a whole bunch of nobody winning at home at all. At all.
It was not a great product on the field yesterday. I know you had money, like the Miami game, Miami Chargers game.
Awesome. Fun game. I knew that would be a great game.
It's a low for a long period of time in which how many quarterbacks threw over 250 yards this year? Like 5?
Yeah, the part of the problem, there's two issues that went into yesterday. Nobody plays preseason games.
Correct.
And then the weather was awful. So, yes, the under won the day, and it continues to win the day as we'll keep track of these. 8-1 to the under in the early games. 8-1. You just bet all unders and said, screw it, I'm betting all unders, so you got 8-1.
I've got a friend who only bets overs. So I need to check on him.
The public only bets overs. They love overs. They love totals. They all do that, always. They love favorites and overs. Tell them that. By the way, Lamar Jackson looked terrible yesterday. Tannehill's done playing football. They're going to have to get him on the bench and just take one of those guys you've drafted over the last 2 drafts and throw him out there and let's see if he can play. Because I think Tannehill's shot looks awful.
Good for him. He's been around for 10-odd years now.
You know who sucked and who almost cost me my 3-team parlay? Old Howell with Washington. I got so tired of Troy Aikman telling us all, Howell can play. Get the hell out of here. He wasn't even good in college. Stop it. Stop it.
Was that like a preview with Troy?
Oh, in the preseason, he's like, everybody sleeps on Howell, but I think he's really good. I think he's going to be one of the better starters in the.
I was going to say, because tonight it's Buck and Aikman. They're back.
It is. Get out of here. The Broncos have lost 7 in a row to the Raiders. 7 in a row to the Raiders. They're arch rivals. That'll hurt your feelings. And their savior, Sean Payton, decides to kick an onside kick at the first play of the game. They don't get it. Raiders go down and score. There's your game.
How do you feel about the onside kick on Saturday night?
Clearly, he saw something.
Is it gimmicky? Is it?
It's not gimmicky.
Mickey
He saw.
Mouse?
No, I don't have a problem with it. What was it, 14-0 at the time? I don't have a problem with it because clearly they saw something and said, these guys leave early. If they're going to leave early and back, you got to do it. You got to do it. It's not 52-0 and you do it. It's 14. I think that's right.
It's right on the heels of going for it for all those 4th downs. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know how I feel about this.
Well, I think if you want to call it gimmicky, it's the 4th down stuff to some degree, but not the onsides is fine. I think if you're a special teams coach, if you're Papuchis and you're watching film and you see that they give it away, they give up the line of scrimmage and leave early. Coaches see that all the time. You circle that and that's your job. You bring it to the coach and say, look, they're guilty of this. We could pull this and get this. First half. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. So I could see it both ways. The 4th down decisions, the places on the field. Like you're not simulating for Clemson. You're not simulating for a playoff game in which you're just going to disregard down and distance.
But you would absolutely kick it onsides if Clemson's special teams unit did that.
Yeah.
You would.
I'm just saying, is that a really good move to keep a team engaged by a head coach who's playing psychological warfare with his team on a short week? Or is it immaturity? Just punt the ball. Punt the ball, dude. 4th and 10. Or kick the ball. It's a 40-some-odd yard field goal. Give Fitzy a look, and let's see what we got here.
Yeah, I don't have a problem on the short ones. Oh, the one at the 30-something yard line I'm going to go for, it was 4th and 3.
Yeah,
I'm
the ones near
go
midfield are the ones.
Yeah. The 4th and 3 from the 38. Yeah, I'm going to do that, yeah. But By the way, coaches in the NFL on new teams went 0-5 over the weekend.
Still waiting for that cigar.
Still grand opening.
It's a good game tonight, though. A lot of times these week 1 Monday nighters are terrible. They got a good one tonight.
Well, this will be an interesting night to see everybody's emotions and how. I mean, you're in New York, 9/11. It will be interesting to watch the pregame for this in terms of the players, the stuff on the field. I know they can overdo things sometimes, and the NFL has always done that.
Please don't show Ed. Will you show the fire department on the field, please?
Show the actual firemen, not
real people.
Yeah. So yeah, that is true. But again, the game itself should be fantastic. I think it's a great slate for us tonight. And can sit back. I told you this last week. Now, once football has washed upon us, if it's not on a given night, I'm like a crack addict. I'm over here just grabbing my wrists and stuff and like, come on, man, don't we have some kind of game on? Hour number 2, fourth coming. Stay with.
Cup of Joe, Java, Brew, Go-Go Beans, Brainwater, Liquid Lightning, Wakey Juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Hit to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com.
Hey y'all, my name is Tiara, and a little thing that I love about the Chick-fil-A spicy chicken biscuit is that it has the perfect amount of spice to jumpstart my day. Whoever thought of it, thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Robert, and a little thing I love about Chick-fil-A spicy chicken biscuit is the biscuit. It reminds me of my grandma's homemade biscuit. It's always buttery and savory. Then you add the spices, instant classic.
Order the spicy chicken biscuit on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real Chick-fil-A guests paid for their testimonials.
Not sure which thermometer to choose? Accuracy matters. Exergen Temporal Scanner is the smart choice. Got a fever? Stay home. To detect fever accurately at home, you need a fast, non-invasive, and clinically accurate thermometer. Exergen provides all of that and is backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be smart and safe. Measure temperature accurately with Exergen, the #1 choice for medical professionals at the top-ranked hospitals in the U.S. Learn more at Exergen.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and line movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Florida Gators with a 49-7 romp over McNeese State on Saturday. They won but did not cover as 48-point favorites. Florida opens as a 7-point underdog at home against Tennessee Saturday in the Swamp. The total 57.5. Florida State steamrolled Southern Miss 66-13, covering as a 31-point favorite. The late 29 to bet Florida State on the spread at Boston College Saturday, 56.5. The total. NFL yesterday, the Jaguars opened the season with a 31-21 win in Indianapolis. Jags earned the victory as a 3.5-point road favorite. Get your free VSiN subscription right now at VSIN.com. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Have you ever noticed that when the afternoon light hits your floors, you can see everything, including dust?
So much dust.
And that poor dust gets kicked up into the air, compromising the quality of air you and your family breathe. Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper is the fast and easy way to clean your floors with ultra-thick pads that trap and lock dust before it gets in the air. Just a couple minutes a day.
And dust is gone.
Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper. Proud partner of the American Lung Association.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Let me tell you what T-Spark stands for. It stands for strength, commitment, teamwork, and heart. We don't ever quit until we've got nothing left to give. Our team is unstoppable. Want a guaranteed win? Call T-Spark Enterprises for your next roofing or construction project. We conquer all peaks. T-SparkConstruction.com. License number CCC 1331204.
Hello, Leon County. Let's get ready to win with Ken. I'm Ken Preston. I want to be your next Leon County property appraiser. I'm driven, committed, experienced, and a dedicated community servant. I'm ready to put my experience as a former property appraiser to work to help make a difference for the people of Leon County. Let's go to work. Vote for me. Ken Preston for Leon County Property Appraiser 2024. Win with Ken. A political advertisement by Ken Preston for Leon County Property Appraiser.
Clean, renewable energy means fresher air, healthier residents, new green jobs, and a stronger, more resilient community. How we get there is up to you. Share your input today to help shape the Tallahassee of tomorrow. Take the Clean Energy Survey at talgov.com.
Your body is a masterpiece designed to heal itself from within. Learn how to maximize your health by tuning in to Phenomenal Health with me, Dr. Ryan Finn. Saturdays at 2:30. Experience true health today and call Finn Chiropractic at 386-7700.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
when I mentioned freshman Blake Nicholson and his instincts and how good they are, he actually led the team in tackles in the game for 5. That's funny.
Have you ever seen such an equitable spread? I get it. There's a lot of incompletions because Southern Miss wouldn't stop chucking the ball around the lot, man.
Says the guy who has to do the post-game show for sure.
Well, in general, too, you're just like, hey, man, you were just inviting. Mike Norvell is willing to go for it on 4th down with the game in the balance. You keep throwing it. This dude will be out here till 2 a.m. Mike doesn't care.
No, he wants to get work in.
Yeah.
Especially when you look rusty in the first half. He's like, okay, we'll work on some things.
We'll go for longer.
Yeah.
Let's play. We're going to play till 2 a.m.
Well, you won't have to worry about that.
So, sorry, 5 tackles.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen such an equitable spread? It goes from 5 to 3, and then like everybody's got 2. Everybody who played had 2 tackles.
I just like that you've got your star players that are playing less than 20 snaps or 21 snaps. I think his first was at. You know, you've got stars on this team, guys that have to lead the way defensively, guys that are going to be the reason that you win some games. And a couple of the nail biters, let's say, that you're inevitably going to face, whether it's one in the regular season and one in the postseason, whatever. These kinds of players getting to really get off their feet on a short week because the team ended up being athletically superior. Even though they didn't play all that well in the first half, they're just so dominant. Now, I think, so we go back to the way I started the show, which is we're grading against the curve of, right? Championship level teams. That's what you have to be at. That's the standard we're holding you to now. But one of the benefits of that, and this is something to celebrate, you know, because context matters and how you talk about these things matter. And I get it, the tone, all of it. I was sitting there on Saturday night thinking, God, they got to work on their run game here. Jordan's got to be better than he's been in these 2 games. Obviously, Johnny, and we're going through the conversation, talking about these things. And then in my head, I said to my dad, well, it was in my head, and then I said to my dad, I go, you know, it's really quite cool that we're talking about this. And meanwhile, the talent level has been so overhauled to the point where you can be out of sorts for an entire quarter, maybe even an entire half. And you're so good athletically, and you got so many guys that can just make plays, that can just turn a 5-yard gain into a first down or a first down into a touchdown. That you have the kinds of Keon Coleman's dead to rights on the sideline, makes a guy miss and hops over another guy and nearly scores. That play should have gone for whatever. It was nothing close to what
2
it.
yards.
Yeah. And he ends up making that play. And they have a lot of dudes like that, including Jordan Travis, who is running around and just it's like backyard football for a time there in the first half. You know, I don't have to like the 4th down call, but the play breaks down and you've got the level of athlete that can just run around and make a play. Now, again, I don't give you kudos or props for that play because in a game against a good team with plus defenders, you're not getting that first down. You can't run back 20 yards and then find a way to get the first down. But you can against Southern Miss because your athletes are that much better. And so, you know, a year ago, 2 years ago for sure, if you have a play breakdown or somebody misses an assignment and you go for it on 4th down, you get stopped. Play broke down, not going to work out. But you're so much better, and the level of talent is so much further along that you can beat somebody 66-13 and on a short week, and you could be kind of, what do you think they compared to 100% efficiency, which is almost unachievable, but what everybody's trying for.
Yeah.
Compared to that, what do you think they were? Because I counted 50 plays or more that were, by virtue of success rate, if you use that metric, failures.
50, yeah. Well, in the 2 weeks combined?
No. Go back. Look, what was the total number of plays?
I'd have to take a look.
It's a lot. No, I think there's 50 plays where they got 3 yards or less.
Yeah, I would say, and I keep coming back to against the curve of camp, because we saw it in the second half of the LSU game, what we saw in camp, which is, you know, when they turn it on, it is spectacular. I mean, it is something to behold when this offense is in a groove. And I just want to see that more on the field during the games. I would say they operated, I used B- last week overall because they had a really bad first half. And
this is another
B-. This is another, C+, B-. So, and the context of the short week, I think, matters. The emotion, everything that was put into that LSU game, there was a lot put into that. They were not afraid of naming them, and so there's a legacy that comes with that. but that you can have a letdown, win 66-13. And I don't feel like the game was as close as the scoreboard read. I don't think it was that close of 66-13.
Interesting, right? Interesting.
And that was the tenor that we had in the postgame show, to be even-handed. Yes, I am disappointed with what I've seen out of the consistency or lack thereof of the first-team offense. I am. But I'm also damn sure that I sat in the very office I sat in on Saturday night 3 years ago, and watched terrible efforts.
Right.
Jacksonville State happened. I had to do a post-game show after that. I realize how far we've come. I enjoy this conversation a lot more than the other one. This is a fun conversation to have. It means we're good.
Well, it's also why I did circle back very quickly and note that the defense was awesome, and Southern Miss had 70 yards in the first half. They got completely shut down. They couldn't convert on third down at all. The things that drive you nuts as a fan when you're watching a game, when you give up 3rd and long or 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5, whatever. Florida State is not doing that right now. They're playing really good football. They're getting people off the field.
Well, the thing is, I want this team to cash in on the opportunity before them. I mean, you see there's a lot of flaws out there around the country, a lot of teams that played no-name opponents on Saturday that were either in dogfights through a second overtime or, struggling deep into the first
Mac
half.
Brown special there in Chapel Hill, baby.
Yeah, just enough so that we had to join the game in progress. Thankfully, I have ACC Network Extra at the beck and call, so I could watch it immediately. But, yeah, there were a lot of teams that were in Florida State's situation on Saturday that struggled mightily. And Florida State really didn't. Even though the process struggled, the result was never going to be in doubt. This was not one of those. And so I appreciate that. But at the same time, having seen what this team can be, it is terrifying what this team could be now that we know what we know about the defense. This is terrifying territory.
Yeah.
But just get out there and show it to you, prove it to yourself that you can do it.
I've mentioned before that it's so much fun. I remember what it is to be great, to watch a team be dominant, to see a team be held to an unfair standard at times, right? And to come in here and have to have a conversation after a 30-point win or a 40-point win or a 50-point win and say, that was great. We put up 554 yards here, but goodness gracious, that third quarter was atrocious. Like having those conversations is very different. And it is, again, it's all relative. But yeah, okay. So Florida State, I think 69 plays of offense in this game. Yeah, 69 plays. And I think it was 50 of those that would be considered from a success rate metric, not a success. Mm-hmm. I think it's 3.5 yards or less on those.
Well, there are just so many downfield shots. This is the other thing too, that it's hard because the game plays out and you take a look at all the backups and lasting impressions, like Biscuit's touchdown. I mean, tackle better, guys.
Well, he's 285 pounds, and man, nobody should run like that at that size.
But the one thing that Jordan is doing, I think he did this last week as well, but he is refusing to hand the ball off for stretches of time where they have the run part of the RPO, and he's just chucking it down the field. Now, part of that could be a conscious choice on the quarterback's part to get receivers involved and test things out, see what he can get away with against a Clemson or a better opponent. Tom Brady has said in the past, Jameis too, when he was a pro, preseason is for me to learn my limits and learn my teammates' limits. But there are several times on Saturday, I'm like, Jordan, hand the ball off, dude. There are 6 men in the box. The right process here is to do that. But he wants to work on something or see something. So it's hard to evaluate. Like, is that bad process that's going to be a bad habit when we play a good team? Or is this, you are fully cognizant that the right play is to hand the ball off, but right now we're playing Southern Miss. So I got to see what these guys are.
Yeah, and the problem is we can't know it without being in the film room and hearing what he has to say to the coaches when they ask him that question, of course. And so, it's also interesting. Like, for example, if you want to hold this team to this elite standard again, you could be like, well, 4 of 12 on third down conversions is not getting it done. But then you turn right around and do what Mike did in the postgame press conference and point out that in total, because you went for it 5 times on 4th down, you were 8 of 17. You converted 8 of 17. That does count. You were 6 of 6 in the red zone. You're not going to bitch about that ever.
Right. Well, sure, man. Are you really going to go for it on 5 4th downs against Clemson or Miami, or are you going to punt the ball?
Of course he's not going to. But yeah, you were 6 of 6 in the red zone. It was you were 1 for 1 field goals. There you go.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And it was true.
It was right down the heart.
Last week's was a little shaky.
Yeah, this was not shaky in the slightest. It was right down the heart. Mm-hmm. I was pleased. It's just it's a weird place you find yourself in. And I'm not telling people not to celebrate the hell out of a 66-13 win. I am saying we can get a lot better, which I think is the better approach here, because it is so scary, as you noted. to remind folks they haven't been close to as efficient as they can be.
Because they've
and
gone.
God forbid if they do.
They've gone down the field on this defense, which we think is better now. We've seen 8 quarters of evidence presented to us, and we feel like they've improved. Is that fair?
100% the defense is better than they were, yes.
Okay, so this offense has made minced meat of that defense in practice and in camp.
At times, yes.
Where when they get on a roll, it is, so if that's what they're doing to what we believe to be an improved defense, metrics had it top 20 in a lot of places last year, but we feel like it might very well be, in truth, this year, every bit of a top 20 defense. Okay, let's see the offense do that now.
By the way, I'm sorry. I wanted to look up another number while you were talking about, and I originally started looking just to see some defensive metrics that we were talking about, and I got caught up in participation. This is how many offensive players play. So you know the numbers.
I know the number on the receptions.
Yeah.
So the 11 players caught a pass, and 2 of them were not Johnny Wilson and Jaheim Bell. Neither of them had a catch. 11 dudes caught a pass.
Yeah. So on offense, it's just fun to do this because out loud it seems insane to say, but here you go. And this is the numbers. Here it is. Receivers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 different receivers played in this game. At tight end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tight ends. That's all of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
7 tight ends got into this game.
Remember the Jarrell Power sighting in the second half?
At running, I'm a little worried about him, by the way. At running back, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 running backs played.
Man, was it
including a walk-on?
Was it a false start or a timeout or an offsides? I forget, but Rodney was definitely going to get the ball in the 2-back set.
Yeah.
And then they pulled him off the field. I'm like, damn it,
Rodney.
That's a house call.
All of your quarterbacks played, and at least the ones on scholarship.
We haven't talked about the order with which they played.
Right. Well, I think, again, we already know what the deal is here. I want to rub it into the young man. I did love.
How many Zaxby's locations are there in Lincoln, Nebraska? Somebody might be asking.
22
in that quarterback
22. Offensive linemen. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 offensive linemen.
Wow.
Played. 16. Dudes you've never heard of. Some guy came down from the stands who played in the 70s, just wanted to feel what it felt like again.
Oh, our guy Phillip. Played.
Yes, Phillip got it.
Former walk-on.
What's happening, baby? Glad you got in, Phillip. Defensively, same thing. We could go on for days. It's nuts. You want to know how many defensive backs played in this game?
Oh, dear God.
1,
17.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 defensive backs got into this game. 21.
I think Greg Reed made an appearance.
21. I didn't know. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 linebackers. I didn't know we had them.
We have 10 linebackers.
Yes.
All right. It's good to know. It's good to know.
So it is. It's something what they were able to do, but that's not nothing. It is something worth celebrating.
Yes.
It's a testament to how much better the team is that you could even do that. That you could be in a position to do that, to just be like, get anybody. Is there anybody left who hasn't played tonight? Get him out there. Seriously,
Dallas want to play?
Right. I mean, honestly, I would have given anything to hear Jimbo on the sidelines Saturday. Miami just throwing the ball over the lot.
But that's the thing. Okay, so before they kick off, we did a thing on Friday, the red zone, and it was what's more likely, Florida State to score 60 plus, or Texas A&M to score 35, and actually both almost happened. But if you said before the game kicked off at 3:30 that A&M was going to drop 33, what's the percentage chance the Aggies win? It would have been high,
very high. And the way that game started, you get the block punt, you go down and score. You think to yourself, okay, they're going to win this game, and then Miami does whatever they want to do. Whatever they want to do in the second half of that game, especially, it's just nuts to think about. Well, listen, at this point, it's an unmitigated disaster at Texas A&M. If you're balancing here, like who's winning this argument, we are.
Well, and you're playing the game of whack-a-mole up there, and you're finally all the offensive moles are down. But here comes the defense from the top rope, just giving up 40 plus.
It speaks to dysfunction, though, and that because it's not players; they have players. That is a broken situation. Again, we talk about when he's broken and it's a convoluted mess and everybody's out for themselves and nobody's cohesive and working together. That's what happens. And so now I mean, I don't really care. That's theirs to worry about. But like, if you're an A&M guy, you're a money guy, you're like, this is broken.
Yeah.
This is it. I mean, we're not going to get it back.
And if you're his Christmas tree, you're just like,
you're shivering,
sir. Not like this.
But it's just, well, the Christmas tree may be given a nice place out on the ranch there. He's got 2 of them.
I don't know. Those crazy folks, those cultists, they'll set fire to it. We've got to purge his property after he leaves. Build it again.
I didn't mention this when we were talking about the NFL earlier. I just looked at this. I was looking at numbers. The Rams out first downed Seattle 15-1 in the second half. That sorry ass Rams team. 15-1. God, I love gambling. These are the numbers. You get all the numbers. You put them all together. Look at this. Look at this. That's crazy. 15-1. The Rams outgained Seattle 426-180.
Oh my God.
That Rams team is dreadful.
Without Cooper Kupp.
Without anybody. Well, Tutu out. Well, who I bet on.
Yeah.
My man. I got a funny one before the end of the show that I got to get you to. This
is calling Miami's win an impressive road win?
No, which is funny.
It's funny.
But Brian Ferentz did not get to 25 again. And somebody did the have you seen it?
No.
It's him on the quest for the total points at 25.
Yeah.
And it's a picture of him looking angry. And then he goes, he didn't get there. It's 2 games in a row.
Boy, and they were sitting at 20 plus for a quarter and a half, weren't they?
One of those was a defensive touchdown.
Oh.
So he didn't come close, baby. There's that. And then I have the ultimate bad beat, which is always fun over the weekend. When we get back to these games, we can start bad beats. It's the best. But this one's in baseball.
Oh, really?
Oh, an all-timer. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
This is Tyler from Bear No Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere.
Save big time in the new year and get $1,200 off select new units.
Online at BearNoAC.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
I'm Franklin, and I've been a Paul's Termite technician for well over 10 years. Working for a great company like Paul's Termite and Pest Control is a blessing for my family and myself. I get tremendous satisfaction knowing that the work I do helps protect most people's biggest investment, their homes, the place where they raise their families and build lifelong relationships. Paul's is a company that stands behind their commitments to customers and employees, and that makes me proud to represent them.
I'm Jay. Having the privilege to work with people like Franklin and all of our employees is truly an honor. There is no doubt that the staff of Paul's Termite and Pest Control is the best in our industry. All of our people are local, and local really does mean something. We're North Floridians. Our kids go to school here. We shop here. We build relationships here, and we honor our commitments. To all of our customers, thanks for trusting us to protect your family, pets, and home.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn too, call Paul's. We'll get them all.
The leaves are starting to fall, the temperatures will start to fall, and the prices are falling right now at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas. Incredible dealer discounts up to $5,000 are available on all hot spring spas, the industry leader in hot tubs and spas. If you've never experienced the sensation and relaxation of having your own hot tub in your backyard on a cool evening, you're truly missing out. The cold months are coming, and now's the time to set yourself up for the best winter season you've ever had. Plus, you'll gain the added health benefits of reduced stress, relief of sore muscles, and better sleep. You'll feel so relaxed after a nice soak in your new hot spring spa. You'll experience some of the best sleep of your life. Head over to Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road and check out their huge showroom packed with the best selection of hot tubs and spas available. And ask about getting up to $5,000 in discount, low interest financing, and a free accessory to make your hot tub dreams come true. If you're ready to relax, Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
having pain like that and not knowing how you caused it and for how long it's lasting, it's debilitating.
QC Kinetics patient Diane Richardson hated not being able to live her life to the fullest due to joint pain. But then she called QC Kinetics, where regenerative treatments helped her pain go away.
The result was phenomenal.
QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in using natural biologics to restore and repair damaged joint tissue.
This was a great alternative for me as opposed to going in and possibly having surgery or something else. There was no downtime, and that's what I loved. My life is too busy for me to be sidelined.
If you're tired of constant pain from arthritis or injury, don't think the old treatments are the only treatments. Discover regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics.
Just to feel good and know that I'm out of pain is the best thing ever. I'm able to do everything that I want to do.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 850-391-4280. That's 850-391-4280. 850-391-4280. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Tucker, can you believe my man's going to cost himself this kind of money?
Sorry about that.
You were about to celebrate, apparently.
Yeah.
He's like,
Little
hey!
Fake Chuck Berry music? Like, what the hell is that about? When your thumb pad hits the...
Mel's being suspended while they research this situation. Investigate is also a word that is used surrounding the situation.
That's my fault. Hit the soundboard for no good reason.
It's kind of funny. Especially after I said that.
I'm going to have to hit that if and when he gets fired for cause. But look, these are accusations. Unfortunately, they're not false because he admitted to investigators that the interaction did happen, as she described it.
the way it's described is something.
I mean, dude, this is unbelievable. This is somebody who is a sexual assault counselor that is levying these accusations.
It's problematic, Tom. It's problematic.
The specialty of what she does for a living is what she's accusing Mel Tucker of.
Mm-hmm. Well, and when you read the details of that, it's a toughie, especially when my man's going to go ahead and admit to it. Now we've got real issues like, this isn't going to end well.
No, for cause.
Yeah, for cause, which means millions upon millions upon millions of dollars that you just signed for based on one good season in a COVID year, and now you're screwed.
Did you see who is the interim head coach?
Is it our guy?
It's Harlan Barnett.
Yeah.
That poor dude has seen so much dysfunction.
He's got to be excited. He loves Michigan State.
He does, but think about the last 5 years of his life and the dysfunction he has been. Is it me? Is there something wrong with me that I have to be in a coach's office with these guys?
All I remember about Harlan Barnett is A, he was a nice man, and B, I kept yelling, rightfully so, we hired the wrong co, which was true, as it turned out. Also, speaking of tough weekends, I don't know how you can, with a straight face, run Jeff Sims back out there ever again. Ever again.
How about in the midst of the game? You're
Ever
allowed to
again.
change.
I mean, my God. They could have gotten some flag football savant from, somebody, anybody. Come on.
That's how far this program has come. We lost to Jeff Sims.
I know.
Under Mike Norvell.
I don't even know how it's possible.
I'd feel bad for the kid if he was diving for the football after he fumbled it repeatedly, but he doesn't care
tried to pick it up.
Cam Newton in the Super
He
Bowl.
pulled the Cam Newton in the biggest game of all time. Cam's like, I'm good. That slipped out of my hand there. Somebody get on that.
We'll get him next week.
You guys get on my man.
There is no next week.
It's the Super Bowl. Let's make an effort here. Yeah, Jeff's just kind of like, ooh, did it again. Oh, doesn't look like I can get it. Doesn't look like I can get it.
That doesn't look fun.
You know how if you're like, if your kid, well, you don't know this, but you've done this, I'm sure, with other people, Jamie maybe being in the room, when you're really comfortable laying on your couch, if somehow you drop the remote, you're like,
oh yeah,
I can't get it.
It's too far.
Son, can you grab that for me, please? It's just too far. Jeff Sims, hut.
Oh yeah,
drops straight out of his hands. It's just sitting there by his feet. Oh,
she'll do that.
I don't know.
So she brings in.
Can one of you guys come in here and get this football, please?
She'll bring in dinner or something, and then put the blanket over her. And then once that happens,
you're dead.
And
That's
then
it.
she'll pout like, "Oh no,
Oh, I forgot to get
what
the
did you
controller."
forget?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was Jeff Sims forgetting to catch the football repeatedly, and then just deciding, ooh.
And then that pick.
That's a stretch. I can't do it. Somebody.
At least he's not throwing pick. Oh,
ooh,
stared that one down.
Ooh, yeah, no, they got it. I mean, is there anybody? Anybody?
What are they seeing in practice that they didn't turn to? Nobody's warming up. Nobody's doing anything.
Didn't turn to Chubba. Didn't turn to. I mean, nobody. Anybody. That's anybody at that point.
Rule should have just gone out there himself.
Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com. Read us 321 right now at Warchant.com. Imagine that. Hello, Ira. How are you, brother?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good, man. Did you watch what we were just referencing?
I did. In fact, my favorite one, though, I think was the one that hit the guy in motion, and he just watched it rolling around. It's like, you're allowed to pick that up, right?
In fact, it's incumbent upon you.
Yeah. Just jump on it.
It was weird. It was like he's like, I don't like this. I don't want to do this. All right, Ira, my take from our game, and I read what you had to say. I encourage others to do it. I always love your 321 column on warchant.com, was that Florida State still hasn't put together a complete game, and yet they dominated 66-13. And I think that's something to celebrate, but also watch closely to see if they can become more efficient. But it does speak volumes of how talented this team is, that they could be that kind of herky-jerky and just beat the bejesus out of Southern Miss.
No question. But I think, and that's what's going to be probably fascinating, I think, to watch the rest of the season, is because, you're it's kind of like this whole process went on hyperdrive, we went from, and that was kind of why Dirk in the preseason, when we were talking about expectations, I felt weird saying this season will be a disappointment if you don't go to the playoff, because a year ago they were 4-3 at one point, and we were wondering if they were going to finish 500. So it's all kind of happened quickly, but at the same time, this window is pretty tight, where you have a Florida State team that you have a quarterback in Jordan Travis who you could compete for a national title with, a roster you should be able to compete for a national championship with, and so you want to take advantage of that, but you also don't want to seem ungrateful or unappreciative of having a really good team. So it's a weird place.
It's funny, as I wrote my notes and then I went back and watched the game. I actually watched the game again this morning, and I have all these notes, all these handwritten notes, and I want to kind of try to organize them. And I'm reading over my notes going, man, this is awfully negative. Are you about to go on the air after a 66-13 win and tell everybody we stunk? And you can't do it, but we do owe it to provide context. Like, I think judged against the standard, which is now, as you just described, a team that could win a national title, well, they got to be better. And I think Mike alluded to it. You could tell he didn't want to poo-poo a 66-13 win, and they accomplished a lot of things. They got a ton of guys, a lot of playing time, which is cool. But you can tell he's a little frustrated by those inefficiencies.
Yeah, but, and again, I think you get down to, as a coach, I think you have to look at it, okay, is this lack of effort, or is it lack of, is it just early in the season? Is it attention to detail? Is it a team that's coming off of an emotional win last week?
Right.
So I think, if you're looking for reasons why you might not be totally sharp, there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't have been totally sharp in that game. So if I'm a coaching staff, I'm not overreacting to it. As fans and media, we have to have something to talk about it. So I get it, but I think what they do over these next 2 weeks will be a real indication of what this team is. You get an ACC game this week, but it's a very winnable ACC game at Boston College, and then you've got the big game against Clemson, and then you have a bye week. So I think, to me, I wouldn't overreact to a whole lot until we see that Clemson game. These next 2 weeks, we'll have 4 games to really look at, and there'll be a bye week to kind of reflect, and I think then we'll have a better picture of what this team is.
I actually can picture ourselves, Ira. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I can see a scenario where they're 4-0 with wins over LSU and Clemson, and we head into the bye week going, man, they just haven't played that well. I'm seriously, and here's why. Because we're admitting now that it was the tale of two halves against LSU and that they were kind of inefficient in this game against Southern Miss. And then what if weather is horrific against Boston College and it's just this ugly get out of Boston 27-7 win or 37-7 type game or something when they just don't play well because the weather is awful? Like if it's a windy day and all you can do is run the ball, we won't know. And then let's say Clemson's not very good and they win that game and we're going to be going, man, they're 4-0. This is a dream start to the season. We're headed to a bye. And yet I feel like we may be talking about how much better they could be. And that wouldn't be a bad thing necessarily.
No, it wouldn't. But I would also remind, anybody that's listening to this, and I think it's something that we see up close because we're at practice, but this is a very mature football team. It's a football team with a lot of guys that have been around the block. So I don't think, I think you worry about some of that with an immature team. Okay, they're winning, they're getting good results, but they're not playing well. I could see an immature team is going to get fooled by that. I think a mature team is going to understand. Jeremiah Byers, some of these guys that, Jared Verse, Fabian Lovett, all those guys that have been around football for a long, Ventrell Cypress, been around for a long time. I think they'll appreciate the fact that they can get better and they will try to get better. If you've got a young team that's just really talented, they may get ahead of themselves and be set up for a big failure. That's why I don't think this team's necessarily primed for that.
By the way, and I didn't talk about it on today's show yet, and I probably should, and I know you probably enjoyed it as well because we've watched the maturation process, and this is another win for Mike and this staff. Jerrion Jones, pick 6, and what he now means to this team and what he is as a player even now that he's healthy. Like, this kind of got overlooked because it's 66-13 and a gazillion people played and there are a lot of different storylines. But I thought that was one of the cooler moments of the night.
It really was. And, I think when you go back to when he came in with Fabian Lovett, I think a lot of people were more excited about Fabian Lovett coming in. They both came in from Mississippi State. And, Jarring played a lot early, kind of got beat a good bit early. There were a lot of FSU fans who felt like he didn't belong out there. And then he's played through injuries but I thought, just over the last, 6 months or a year, we just heard so many good things about what a positive force he is on the team. And then the fact that they've played him at multiple positions. He can play safety, he can play nickel, he can play corner. He's also, been a good teammate. He's a guy that people like. So you saw the reaction when he had that pick 6. You could tell that this team really cares about him. And he's a guy, as you said, he's an example of like, if you stick it out and you persevere and this coaching staff invests in you, good things are probably going to happen. And I think we're seeing that.
Longest streak back to the other side of the ball in the country for consecutive games of 35 points or more. I know when you're 3-2-1, you mentioned that this offense could be on a historic run. Those scores are laid before: 41 against Georgia Tech, 45 against Miami, 38 against Syracuse, 49 against Louisiana, 45 against UF, 35 against Oklahoma, and then the 2 games that we've seen so far this year. It's impressive, very impressive, and they're not even hitting their stride.
No, and that's what I would say is, and even the game that they didn't have 35 last year, the last game they didn't, I think was Clemson, they had 28. So it's not like it was a big drop off there. And then you look at these 2 games, this season against LSU and
Southern Miss.
I thought the LSU game, first of all, they may have been going up against the best defensive front they'll see all season. And it took them a while to get going, but then they scored on basically their last 6 possessions. And then in this game, not even playing well. They scored on 12 of 15 possessions. So, yeah, man, I think it's or 9 of 12 possessions, excuse me.
Yeah.
And I don't see any reason to slow it down. If you think what we thought coming out of last season was this is a very good offense, has a chance to be a great offense. Then they went and added the pieces they had. You started wondering, okay, how good could this be? Well, I think we're starting to get a sense that it could be an all-time great offense.
And all of a sudden, there's a thought that maybe Darian Williamson and perhaps my guy Deuce Spann are going to be a part of the reason why.
For sure. And then you throw in Destin Hill and Winston Wright's getting going again.
Yep.
And it's kind of crazy, man. They have so many weapons on this offense.
I'll save the Johnny Wilson conversation for Seminole headlines tomorrow. We'll have fun with it. Yeah, no, it'll be good. All right, brother, be good. I'll talk to you later. Yep, appreciate it. Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com, every Monday. And actually, I know he's predicting Johnny will be fine. And I said at the beginning of the show that I'll allow wiggle room for that argument because he's proven it time and again. After tough nights, he's bounced back. He's like the pitcher that's occasionally prone to getting lit like a Christmas tree in the first inning for some ungodly reason. You're like, well, my man is 6-2 with a 3.47, but all of the runs given up this year are in those 2 starts that he lost in the first inning, where he was chased after 57 pitches and runners still on first and second. Like, that concerns me moving forward in big games. And yet, when he's right, he's dominant. So it's so weird, the Johnny Wilson conundrum here. I just hope we're not getting to a place where it's getting worse.
Well, yeah, that's the thing where you dare to dream for a moment about how lethal this offense can be. Johnny hasn't played that great yet. He had 3 chain-moving catches against LSU in the first half, that first touchdown drive. Very important to that first touchdown drive.
He also, in that game, by the way, and it gets overlooked, but it shouldn't because I think it counts just as much as a catch, is the defensive pass interferences he drew. He drew 2 in that game,
that's right.
too. Yeah.
That's right. So had an impact, but has he played his best? No.
Oh, God, no.
No. His biggest apologist wouldn't say that.
No.
And I'm close to that. Not quite at that level.
Yeah, no.
Trey hasn't been great yet. I mean, now he had 10 touches for nearly 100 yards this weekend. He started to look more like himself.
That
but
4th and 1 run was something.
It still seems
a lot of wee.
It still seems like, he's trying to parse what it is the coaching staff is asking from him, the rhythm and the timing of the running game. He could have had a lot better numbers, I think, if Jordan would just hand the ball off with good numbers in line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
But then Jordan hasn't been like A+ sharp either.
Not even close.
And yet. That's how I finished my feature last week was and yet. You have all these issues. And right now you've already crossed 110 points this season as an offense. A lot of that for the backups this week, but 110 points. How long did it take to get to 110 points of output 2 seasons ago? 3 seasons ago?
Oh, well, yeah, we're probably still playing.
I mean, it's absurd. This group is just, their baseline is so high. It's ridiculous.
I will say this. I want to see a healthy Robert Scott and Maurice Smith out there soon, though. I mean, that is going to be important. Suddenly that depth washes away a little bit. And,
it does.
We don't have a second center that you truly feel good about. So
Darius is okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't great. Was okay. I like him as a player. I like him at other positions on the offensive line more than I do center.
Correct. And that's one of the things where if you want to be critical about the long view, they've tried. Don't get me wrong. This coaching staff has tried.
They brought people in 3 years in a row.
But yeah, you still haven't cultivated a second center that is really specialized at center.
That you can trust, yeah.
This offseason. I mean, Maurice might be back for year 22 next year.
Which is good.
I think that's actually more money for him if he comes back.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
This is where NIL really helps, yeah.
It would also help that as a football program, we have more than one guy that we really feel good about. That'd be good. Like, it wasn't a job battle at the start of fall camp. Alex said, no, you can put it in ink. Maurice is our starting center. It's really? I was going to ask you about Casey Roddick. I guess I'm going to skip that question.
Skip it because he couldn't snap.
He's going to play guard.
Couldn't snap. I'll get you that bad beat that I said I was going to. I forgot we were going into our conversation with Ira, so I'll save it for you when we come back. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Leon County Sheriff's Office is working with Project Child Safe to offer free gun safety kits to Leon County residents. The kits were implemented by LCSO after multiple shooting incidents that involved children in the region. The kit comes with safety information and a cable-style gun lock, which fits most types of handguns, rifles, and shotguns. The kits are available at the LCSO on Municipal Drive. There is a Florida statute that makes it a crime for a gun owner to not properly secure a gun, which could result in being charged with a second-degree misdemeanor. A 34-year-old Chattahoochee Chattahoochee man died Saturday morning after driving off the road on Blountstown Highway, according to Florida Highway Patrol. The crash happened around 4:23 a.m. on State Road 20, Blountstown Highway, just east of Silver Saddle Drive in Leon County. The man was driving west on Blountstown Highway when, for an unknown reason, he drove off the road, crossing the eastbound lane, hitting a utility pole. The man died on the scene. This is Rachel and A with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Partly cloudy this afternoon with highs around 93. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. 73 tonight, partly cloudy skies. Mainly sunny skies tomorrow. Chance for scattered storms, highs around 92. Temperatures near average Wednesday and Thursday with highs from the upper 80s to the low 90s. Storms both days. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 92.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Jimmy Fasig at Fasig Brooks. We hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu. Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Is that what is the pork?
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of that nobody would know and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Here, so there is all of that.
Yes, it is.
Over 50 hot tubs and spas in stock right now. The showroom is massive, 12,000 square feet of nothing but tubs. Tubs everywhere over off of Greer Street. It's a good thing.
Sounds like the State Fair.
Nothing but tubs. There you go. So go check them out. Good stuff, and it's fun. It's fun. I would also look to see, what do we got here? Yeah, that's right. No, we're good. We're caught up. I told you that there was an all-time bad beat, and we love bad beats. So here you go.
It's in baseball, though.
It's in baseball. Did you happen to see what happened in the Yankees-Brewers game?
No, I've got no idea.
The Yankees were no-hit for 10.5 innings.
Oh, really?
And won.
Oh, no.
Now get this, Yankees-Brewers, the total was 7.
Mm.
Well, this gets better. New York was no hit until the bottom of the 11th. No hit.
Oh, man, in their own building?
To the bottom of the 11th.
Jeez.
No score in the 10th. The total's at 7.
So nobody could hit a pop-up to right field? It counts as a home run?
You're a bettor. You've got the under.
You're feeling pretty good.
Feeling pretty good about this. So then the Brewers score a couple. The Yankees, after being no hit for 10.5 innings, tie it up
But we're going to the 11th. Oh, no.
This is why maybe you early cash out in some situations. Don't early cash out. Do you know what happened to me in the Bronx back in 23?
Can you imagine this? I bet the under on a 7. It was nothing in the 10th.
It's baseball.
We were hitting the sons of bitches into the 11th. We scored 2 in said 11th. They tied it up in the 11th. It ended up 4-3. At least they didn't lose. It's a push, but depending on where you're at, you're going to lose money.
It's an expensive push.
You had the win, and the team that you bet against was being no hit.
That's tremendous.
That is unreal. There was some big ones. There was one. USC was up on Stanford. I think it was 49-3 or something in the first half, and the total was like 59, and I think they kicked a field goal, and that's it in the second half. Something crazy.
Oh, really?
I think that's the game. I got to go back and check it, but it's bizarre.
Yeah, these 8 p.m. kicks, you just don't have awareness of what's going on because of the fine programming we provide at Warchant TV. So when you tell me these stories, it literally is the first time I'm hearing it.
Oh,
that's fantastic.
Oh, I had a bunch that I wrote down over the weekend, just laughing. I mean, goodness gracious. That is as bad as it gets. You're hitting somebody in extra innings.
And you've got 7 runs of insurance. Ghost runner or no ghost runner. That's 7 runs.
What are we doing?
You're going to be okay.
Really?
As long as there's not a walk-off grand slam, you're pretty much in good shape. Even then.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it was fun. I did want to thank everybody yet again for contributing to ISF's tailgate and the Second Harvest. They joined together. What is it? Lot 2, row 127.
That's right.
Yeah, no, that's correct. Yeah. And
Lot 2 for sure.
Yeah. So thank you guys for doing that. And for the people who came by to the pregame show at Hotel Indigo and dropped off food and said hello.
Corner
Pocket was a raging success as well. And then we raised last week over $5,000 on this show with you guys, and so that was phenomenal.
Some people popped in after watching the show on demand, and it got over $5,700.
Is that right?
$5,700,
almost $6,000.
Yeah.
Wow, that's something to behold. Yeah, always warms the heart, makes me feel good, and thanks again for you guys doing that. By the way, NFL unders 11-4, 73%, and dogs 9-6. Unders and dogs. Unders and dogs. Unders and dogs. That's what it is right now. We got to do some probables, and we've got to make mention of our friends at Power Milk. Go stop by there. They got 47 clients in the major leagues, which is a good thing. And they also have a ton of coaches that love to help kids play better softball and baseball. So go see them, PowerMilkSports.com. All right, here we go. Fire it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching probables?
Braves, Phillies, they're in the 6th. It's 5-4 Atlanta. Charlie Morton. Tawan Walker goes for the Phillies. We've got Nationals, Pirates tonight. Patrick Corbin, Andre Jackson going for the Pirates. Miss Jackson if you're nasty. Cardinals, Orioles, Dakota Hudson, Dean Creamer. Braves, Phillies, Game 2, TBD. Michael Lorenzen going for the Phillies. Rangers, Blue Jays, Dane Dunning, Chris Bassett. D-backs, Mets, Zach Davies, Jose Quintana. Man, that creep can roll.
Good pitch, too.
Yankees, Red Sox, Clark Schmidt, Cutter Crawford. Cheating on the golf course. Rays, Twins, Tyler Glasnow, Sonny Gray.
Cutter Crawford is the beloved golf course architect. Well, that's Cutter Crawford. Or he's the golf official.
That's the they're gonna call Cutter Crawford in here.
Cutter Crawford.
We need a ruling. Royals, White Sox.
I'm sorry, that's not a free drop.
TBD. Cutter, it's clearly on the sprinkler head. Marlins, Brewers, Jesus Luzardo, Brandon Woodruff, A's, Astros, Mason Miller, Framber Valdez.
Mason Miller?
Framber Valdez. Cubs, Rockies, Jordan Wicks and Kyle Freeland. Angels, Mariners, and the Angels are finally blowing it up. You want Mike Trout? You can have him. He's out there. Phillies want him, I know that. Reed Detmers, Logan Gilbert. Guardians, Giants, Gavin Williams, Alex Cobb. Finally, Padres, Dodgers tonight, Pedro Avila and Gavin Stone. That is a look at those that shall reside on the bump.
Gavin Stone's a good name for a weatherman. Strong.
Our own Gavin Stone with the weather next.
Yeah.
Gavin, looks like temperatures are cooling. What say you? Well, thanks, Mary.
Gavin Stone. If you have a tropical weather update and it's alert time, Gavin Stone, strong.
Gavin, it looks like it's picking up steam out in the Gulf. Your thoughts on that? That's true, Steve. It is. And I'll tell you what, it's moving fast up the eastern seaboard. Right about now, we look at the map, and there it is.
That's his own YouTube show, is Rapid Intensification with Gavin Stone.
I like that. You could use that for so many types of podcasts. We got to do Bellying Up this week, you and I do. That'll be good.
We do. Mm-hmm.
And then we do have the Wednesday show this week at 7
p.m.
7 o'clock. I'm going to do that show with you while I have an ice cold beer.
Oh, boy. All right.
It's going to be that kind of a program on Wednesday.
All right.
Ice cold beer.
Bring your questions.
No. Not a strong one. Just an ice cold
beer. Will it
beer.
have been the first beer?
It'll be the first beer. Yeah, it'll be the first beer. It won't be the third. We'll all pop a beer together, everybody.
I'll have one with you.
Yeah, 7 o'clock Wednesday. It's a better week this week. It's a laid back week.
I'll make my espresso cocktail with the espresso blend. It'll be delicious. Delicious.
Yes, it will. I'm still waiting for Ed to send me my DeLuna coffee. Come on, Ed.
It's in the mail. Left today.
I'm so excited about it, though. That's what I mean. I'm not just putting pressure on Ed. I love coffee, and his coffee in particular. It's
1
really,
to 3
really good.
day window. He says we're right next to each other. Should take 1 day.
Oh, that's going to be good. Yeah, it's the time of year. Man, I was surprised. I know we've got to go, but I was surprised by how well I held up Saturday night, buddy. I was up till the wee hours watching those final games.
Oh, we should have talked.
I could have. I was still gambling in game. Loving it. Good work out of you. Good work, Director Matthew. Be well, everybody. Have a good rest of your day and evening. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Seminole Headlines. Peace.